Amy sued for her own recipes. You won't believe the legal letter Caryn Chandler just allegedly sent to shut down Amy Rolloff's business. But Chris Merrick just reportedly found the one document that proves Caryn may have committed federal perjury. We are talking about the nuclear option, a move so aggressive and so calculated that it threatens to tear the entire Rolloff legacy apart once and for all. If you thought the farm negotiations were dirty, you haven't seen anything yet. This is the brand theft conspiracy, and we are uncovering the exclusive theories and insider reports that suggest Matt and Caryn are trying to commandeer Amy's cooking empire. Welcome back to LPBW Update, where we dig deeper than the cameras ever will. Today, we are investigating a situation that is developing rapidly behind the scenes. We are hearing whispers from sources close to the production that a legal war is brewing. Not over land, not over the big house, but over a jar of salsa. We need to talk about the terrifying envelope that allegedly landed in Amy Rolloff's mailbox earlier this week. According to speculation circulating among insiders, Amy received a formal cease and desist letter. For those of you who don't know, a cease and desist is the first shot fired in a lawsuit. It is a demand to stop doing something immediately or face severe financial consequences in court. But what was in this letter? What could Amy possibly be doing that would warrant legal action from her ex-husband and his girlfriend? The theory is that Matt and Caryn have secretly filed for a federal trademark on the term Rolloff Farms. Now, you might be thinking, surely Matt already owns that. Here is where it gets sticky, and here is where the betrayal happens. We have reviewed public trademark classifications, and it appears there is a push to trademark the name Rolloff Farms, specifically for Class 29 and Class 30 goods. These are the federal classifications for food products: jams, jellies, sauces, and yes, specifically, pumpkin salsa. The cease and desist reportedly demands that Amy Rolloff immediately pull her famous pumpkin salsa from store shelves and her website, or pay the new trademark holders, Matt and Caryn, a royalty fee. And we aren't talking about a small percentage. The rumor mill suggests they are demanding a staggering 40% of her gross revenue. Imagine that. Amy does the cooking, Amy developed the recipe, Amy built the fan base, and Caryn wants nearly half the money just because she is currently sleeping in the farmhouse. Let's analyze the timing of this, because in the world of the Rolloffs, timing is never accidental. Amy has been thriving. Since the divorce, she has rebranded herself not just as a reality star, but as a lifestyle brand. Her cooking videos get thousands of views. Her Amy's Little Kitchen segment is a hit. Her salsa sells out online constantly. She has proven that she does not need the physical dirt of the farm to be successful. She carries the heart of the farm with her. And that is exactly what seems to be driving Matt and Caryn crazy. We have heard reports that sales at the actual farm stand have been fluctuating. The pumpkin season is short, the overhead is high. Matt is constantly pouring money into new construction projects that may or may not ever be finished. They need a new revenue stream. They need cash that comes in year-round, not just in October. And they looked across the valley, saw Amy making money hand over fist with her food line, and decided they wanted a piece of that action. But they couldn't just ask for it. Amy would never agree to partner with Caryn on a food line. The tension is too high. The history is too painful. So, the theory goes, they decided to steal it. By filing a trademark for the brand name Rolloff Farms regarding food items, they are essentially claiming that because Amy used the farm's name to launch the salsa years ago, the intellectual property belongs to the farm, not to Amy. It is a ruthless corporate maneuver. It is the kind of thing you expect from a shark on Wall Street, not the father of your children. The cease and desist alleges that by selling Rolloff salsa, Amy is profiting off the farm's fame unfairly. It claims that she is confusing the marketplace. They are arguing that when a customer buys Amy's salsa, they think they are supporting Matt's farm, and therefore, Matt deserves the money. This brings us to the villain's motive. We need to take a hard look at Caryn Chandler's role in this. For years, viewers have pointed out the power dynamic shift. Caryn started as the farm manager. She was an employee. She took orders. Now, she is the lady of the manor. But there is one thing Caryn has never been able to buy, and that is the audience's love. Amy is the matriarch. Amy is the mother. Amy is the heart. Caryn has tried to launch her own initiatives. Remember the rumors about her wanting to redesign the farm stand? Remember the clips where she tries to take charge of the pumpkin festival logistics? Every time she tries to step into the spotlight as a business owner, the fans reject it. The comment sections are brutal. People see her as an interloper, and that has to sting. It has to create a deep-seated jealousy. There is a psychological aspect here that we cannot ignore. Caryn sees Amy making money independently, without Matt's help, and without the farm's physical resources. Amy doesn't need the big house. She has her talent. Caryn, on the other hand, derives her relevance in this narrative entirely from her relationship with Matt. If she isn't Matt's girlfriend, she's just a former employee. If Amy isn't Matt's wife, she is still Amy Rolloff, beloved cook and mother. This disparity drives the conflict. The cease and desist isn't just about money. It is about control. It is about erasing Amy's independence. If they can force Amy to pay them a royalty, they essentially turn Amy back into an employee. They make her work for them again. It is a power play of the most toxic variety. We also have to look at the financial pressure. Building a dream home is not cheap. Matt's custom house, with its specialized logs and massive layout, has likely gone over budget. We have seen the delays. We have seen the frustration. Where is the cash coming from? If the farm's profit margins are thinning, hijacking Amy's salsa business is a quick way to inject liquid cash into their accounts. It is lazy, it is predatory, but from a purely business standpoint, it is a strategy. A cruel strategy, but a strategy nonetheless. The insider theory suggests that Caryn was the one who pushed for the trademark lawyer. Matt, for all his faults, usually focuses on construction and land. Intellectual property theft regarding recipes? That feels like a different kind of calculation. That feels like someone who knows the books, someone who managed the farm office for years and knows exactly how much money that salsa brings in. Imagine the scene at Amy and Chris's house when that letter arrived. The shock, the feeling of being hunted. Amy spent 30 years on that farm. She raised 4 children there. She cooked thousands of meals in that farmhouse kitchen. That salsa recipe isn't just a list of ingredients. It is her history. It is her legacy. To have the woman who replaced her try to legally confiscate that history is a violation that goes beyond business. It is personal. It is vindictive. And it sets the stage for a battle that Amy didn't want, but one she simply cannot afford to lose. If she gives in, she loses her brand. If she fights, she drains her savings on lawyers. It is the perfect trap. Or at least, Matt and Caryn thought it was the perfect trap. But they forgot one thing. They forgot about Chris Merrick. And they forgot that when you file documents with the United States government, you have to tell the truth. You cannot lie to the USPTO. And this is where the story takes a turn that no one saw coming. This is where the aggressors made a fatal error. Because in their rush to steal the brand, in their greed to secure that 40% royalty, they allegedly cut corners. They got sloppy. And that sloppiness left a paper trail. A paper trail that Chris Merrick, with his background in real estate and contracts, knows exactly how to read. We are hearing that Chris didn't just get mad, he got busy. He started digging. While Amy was spiraling, wondering if she had to shut down her website, Chris was online, searching the federal trademark database. He was pulling the files. He was looking at the dates. And what he found is going to shake the foundation of Rolloff Farms. There is a specific line on every trademark application where the applicant has to swear, under penalty of perjury, when the brand was first used in commerce. This is the date of first use. It is the most critical piece of information in the entire application. If you get this wrong, your trademark is weak. If you lie about it, you have committed fraud. According to our exclusive theory, on the application filed by Matt and Caryn, they listed the date of first use for the Rolloff Farms food products as 2018. Why 2018? Because that is roughly when Caryn took full control of the operations and when the divorce settlement was finalizing. They are trying to claim that the brand as a commercial food entity started with them. in the modern era, likely to cut Amy out of the legacy claim. They want to pretend the last 30 years didn't happen. They want to establish a new timeline where Caryn is the co-founder of the food line. But history has a receipt, and in this case, the receipt is on a VHS tape gathering dust in Amy's attic. This is where the conspiracy crumbles, and where the counterattack begins. Stay tuned, because in the foreword of this report, we are going to break down exactly what Chris Marek found, and why a simple video from 1995 is about to become the most important piece of evidence in reality TV history. We are deep in the trenches of the Rolloff Farms trademark war, and if you are just joining us, the situation has shifted from a simple family dispute to a potential federal crime. Amy Rolloff is holding a cease and desist letter that threatens to bankrupt her cooking business, a business built on recipes she perfected while raising her children. Matt and Caryn are allegedly demanding a 40% cut, claiming they own the Rolloff name for all food products. It looks like a checkmate. It looks like the bullies win. Amy is ready to sign the papers, ready to give up her hard-earned money just to make the fighting stop. She is tired. She has fought Matt for decades, and she just wants peace. But Chris Marek isn't tired. Chris Marek is angry, and Chris Marek is about to pull a thread that unravels the entire conspiracy. We need to talk about Chris Marek's background because it is crucial to this theory. Before he was a reality TV husband, Chris was, and is, a successful real estate agent. He deals in contracts, he deals in property rights, and he deals in the fine print that most people ignore. When Matt sends a document, he expects Amy to get emotional. He expects her to react with her heart, to cry, to get flustered. He does not expect someone to sit down with a highlighter and a laptop and cross-reference every single claim against federal databases. That is exactly what Chris did. While Amy was pacing the kitchen floor, Chris went to the United States Patent and Trademark Office website. This is public information, but you have to know where to look. You have to know how to navigate the trademark status and document retrieval system, or TSDR. According to our investigation into the filings, Chris pulled up the application for Rolloff Farms regarding Class 29 food goods. He started reading the declaration. A trademark application isn't just a form you fill out like a magazine subscription. It is a legal affidavit. You are swearing facts to the federal government. As Chris scanned the document, his eyes reportedly landed on a specific field: date of first use in commerce. This date is the holy grail of trademark law. It establishes who was there first. It establishes seniority. And on this application, the date listed wasn't 1990. It wasn't 2000. It wasn't even 2010. The date listed was allegedly in the fall of 2018. Let that sink in for a moment. 2018. Why would they choose that date? Think about the timeline. 2018 is post-divorce. 2018 is when Caryn Chandler had fully cemented her position as the manager and partner of the farm operations. By claiming the brand started in 2018, Matt and Caryn are attempting a rewrite of history so brazen it is almost impressive in its audacity. They are legally arguing that the Rolloff Farms salsa brand did not exist when Amy was cooking it for the kids. They are arguing it didn't exist when Amy was selling it at the roadside stand in the early 2000s. They are claiming that the brand only became a valid commercial entity when Caryn took over. It is a calculated move to erase Amy's contribution entirely. If the brand started in 2018, then Amy has no claim to it because she was already off the deed. It is a loophole designed to cut the mother of the family out of the family legacy. But Chris Marek spotted the flaw immediately. He knows, just like we know, just like you know, that Amy has been selling that salsa for decades. But knowing it isn't enough. You have to prove it. And you have to prove that the people filing the trademark knew they were lying. This is where the intent to defraud comes in. Chris kept reading. He scrolled down to the signature block. On every trademark application, there is a standard oath. It reads, roughly, that the applicant declares that to the best of their knowledge, no other person, firm, corporation, or association has the right to use the mark in commerce. By signing that document, Caryn, assuming she signed as the authorized representative for the farm's business entity, swore under penalty of perjury that she didn't know anyone else using the name Rolloff for salsa. This is the smoking gun. How can Caryn Chandler, a woman who worked at the farm for years before dating Matt, a woman who managed the pumpkin season staffing, claim she didn't know Amy was selling salsa? She was there. She saw the jars. She likely counted the inventory. For her to sign a federal document stating that no conflicting rights exist is not just a lie. It is a federal offense. It is called fraud on the USPTO. And the consequences for that are not just losing the lawsuit. We are talking about the potential cancellation of all their trademarks. We are talking about fines. In extreme cases, we are talking about criminal charges for perjury. Chris realized in that moment that Matt and Caryn hadn't just overreached. They had walked into a bear trap. But they needed the physical proof. The USPTO works on evidence. If Matt and Caryn say the brand started in 2018, the burden of proof shifts to Amy to show priority of use. Chris looked at Amy and asked the million-dollar question. Do we have proof you sold this before 2018? Amy hesitated. She talked about old receipts, maybe lost in the move. She talked about old ledgers that Matt probably shredded years ago. The digital age wasn't really a thing back then. They didn't have Instagram in 1998. It looked bleak. If they couldn't prove the sales, the lie would stand, and Caryn would win. Then a light bulb went off. The attic. The repository of the Rolloff family history. We have seen on the show how much stuff Amy keeps. Matt calls it hoarding. Amy calls it memories. And in this case, those memories were about to save her business. Amy remembered the old camcorders, the massive VHS tapes from the 90s, the days when they filmed everything themselves, long before the TLC camera crews arrived. She remembered filming the very first pumpkin seasons to show her parents back in Michigan.